Oh, thank you. We're returning from executive session, and I call this regular business meeting to order. Mr. Frazier?
Mrs. Baker,
Here.
Mr. Davidson,
Here.
Dr. Kopus,
Here.
Mrs. Matthews,
Here.
Mr. Sprague.
Here.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Next, we have approval of the Board of Education agenda. Thank you, Thank you. Mr. Frazier?
Mr. Davidson,
Yes.
Dr. Kopus,
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews.
Yes.
Mr. Sprague,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes. Also, you have seen or had it before, the minutes from our last meeting, so we need a motion for that.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Sprague. Any discussion? Mr. Frazier?
Dr. Kopus,
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews,
Yes.
Mr. Sprague,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Davidson.
Yes.
Okay, I see Mr. Lauer out there. As a city council representative, are you coming to? Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. We do have one person here that wishes to address the board. If you could please step up to the podium. And you've received a copy of the public policy
I did.
notification? Okay.
I read it online, actually.
Okay. And please state your name and your address.
Amy Derman, 6 Tiffany Court, Hamilton, Ohio.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I am a parent of 2 Hamilton City School District students, one in 10th grade, one in 6th grade. And I want to share that we have had an incredibly positive experience at Hamilton City Schools. We've been afforded so many opportunities, and I've witnessed the compassion and dedication that the staff have for their students, top notch. However, I am compelled today to share with you a safety issue. And I'm here not as a parent, but as a community member. And I witness regularly students in my neighborhood who do not have busing transportation walking up and down Eaton Hill where there's no sidewalks, and this is sometimes in the dark. There is no safe walking route in this neighborhood, not up and down Hermay Hill, not up and down Eaton Hill. So I'm here today to formally request that this transportation route be instated or reconsidered. If the district cannot find it within their budget to provide this transportation, I formally request a work group be established so that our community leaders can solve this problem and determine a solution, as this is a dangerous situation.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate that. And you're right, Eaton Road is not very good. So I'm going to yield to Mr. Holbrook, and I'm sure he'll get Mr. Kilby to look into this for us.
Yeah, there's a number of places. That's just one of them that I know are huge concerns, especially for our walkers. And we continue to work collaboratively with the city on that. That's a project with that, but let me dig into the transportation piece on that a little bit. It's a little more complex than just adding a route, but if we can make some adjustments, we'll try to do some of that.
I agree, it is complex, and I have done some research. Sidewalks don't appear to be feasible with that kind of that angle on either Hermay or Eaton. I am willing to write a 17 Strong grant that I'm preparing to see if we can maybe incorporate public transportation. BCRTA shuttle, there is a stop on Gordon Smith Boulevard. But I first wanted to make the board aware to see if they could consider easier solutions.
Let us look at our bus routes. They've got some fancy equipment down there that I personally don't know how to run, but it certainly can help us with efficiency with
Thank you.
some of that. I'll get with our transportation department. And Mr. Kilby sitting in the back here, if you could give him your contact information, that way someone can reach out to you after we look into that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Holbrook, your comments.
Yes, tonight, the first thing I would like to do is congratulate a couple of our Hamilton High School student athletes. First, we have Hazel Culver. Hazel has qualified for the state in the 100-meter breaststroke. She is the first girl qualifier from Hamilton High School to qualify for the state. And that's a huge accomplishment. I believe she swims Friday up in Canton, but I want to just have a shout out to her. We also had a young man qualify for the districts in bowling, Aiden Hoyt. And so congratulations to Aiden and all, as well as the men's bowling tournament in the district continues. I also want to talk a little bit tonight about collaboration. And over the last month, I have had the opportunity to work with a number of different groups in Hamilton that I think illustrates and shows the importance of our school district reaching out and working with other organizations. We're a very large school district, and we have a lot of options to look at collaborating with, and we have a lot of people that want to work with us. The first I want to talk about a little bit is something called Plan Hamilton. And the districts work with city leaders participating in the cooperation and collaboration video. I think I did send that to each of you, and I worked exclusively with Liz Hayden and her team on that. But this initiative is designed to assist the city with connecting with Hamilton stakeholders so they can help shape the comprehensive plan for the city for the future. And you know, it's a good collaboration. It just shows the steps that we're taking in working with the city. We also were able to announce at the State of the Schools the Hamilton Promise Scholarship Program through Miami Regionals, and it offers free tuition for an associate or bachelor's degree from the Miami Regionals for any student who lives in Hamilton. And that's a big undertaking that we're very fortunate to have that resource in our community. I also provided you a letter that I wrote in support of an advanced manufacturing hub. And one of the things that we've always tried to do, and we've made some adjustments over the last several years, is aligning our programming with jobs in need in the area. What's in need in Northeast Ohio may not be what the need is in Southwest Ohio. And so making those adjustments so that so students have the opportunity to go through the training and actually have careers available to them through these various programs, because I think that that's extremely important. And also this Saturday, I'm going to have an opportunity to attend the 17 Strong Breakfast, and that's really basically a celebration of the year's work with 17 Strong. And you know, 17 Strong basically provides a framework for communication and a sense of identity for citizens to rally around their various neighborhoods in Hamilton. And then finally, I had the opportunity with Mr. Zeri this week to attend a ribbon cutting ceremony at the high school. And this was held in conjunction with Kettering Health. And we have started a program, a nurse's assistant program with Kettering Health. And the nice thing about that, it's very hands-on, and it includes a paid internship for these young ladies that were there. And so, you know, those are my updates tonight. And there's a lot of exciting things going on, and I just wanted to highlight a few of those.
Thank you, Mr. Holbrook. Always something going on, and I'll be at that meeting with you on Saturday as well. Okay, next on the agenda, we've got the Aubrey contract that's up. I believe we've discussed it, and I need a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you. Any discussion on that? Mr. Frazier?
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Dr. Kopus?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Next, we have the Ohio High School Athletics Association, which is the board resolution authorizing us as members of the OHSAA for the 24-25 year, which is being recommended for approval. I need a motion.
I would move that we adopt those resolutions.
Thank you. I need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Matthews. Any discussion? Mr. Frazier?
Mr. Sprague,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Davidson,
Yes.
Dr. Kopus,
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is authorization for Board Member Matthews to go to a national conference. I believe all the board members have received notification as far as the policy on that, and I'd like to make a motion that she be allowed to attend that conference. Need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion.
Well, not getting into a lot of details, but we've had communication on that, President Baker, and I think everyone understands how I feel on that issue.
I think I've made my opinion clear, too. Discuss it too much more.
Okay.
I just have a question for Mr. Holbrook. Is it proper for Mrs. Matthews to vote on this?
I think I believe that was discussed with our attorney. I do not think she will be voting on this issue.
Any other discussion? No. Okay. Mr. Frazier?
Mrs. Matthews,
I'll abstain.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Davidson,
No.
Mr. Sprague,
Yes.
Dr. Kopus.
No.
Okay. Thank you. Looks like we've set some precedents. So next on the agenda is the consent agenda. I'm sorry, Human Resources agenda. I missed it. So I would make a motion to approve the resources agenda.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you. Any discussion? Mr. Frazier?
Mr. Davidson,
Yes.
Dr. Kopus,
I abstain.
Mrs. Matthews,
Yes.
Mr. Sprague,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes. Okay, next is our consent agenda. I believe everybody saw the reports from that, so I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Sprague. Need a second?
Second?
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Any discussion? Mr. Frazier?
Dr. Kopus,
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews,
Yes.
Mr. Sprague,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Davidson.
Yes.
All right. Next is Mr. Frazier, the finance agenda.
Thank you, President Baker. We have a relatively light finance agenda this evening. We have the normal financial reports that consist of the cash position report, the cash flow analysis report, and the cash reconciliation. We also have a resolution granting a temporary right-of-way at Ridgeway Elementary. The city is working on a grant with ODOT for the Safe Routes to Schools program that will build a sidewalk and a crosswalk at Ridgeway Elementary. And the city needs this resolution to be passed in order to go after that grant. We also have a confirming PO for books by eCampus for $4,700. And then we also have several donations. We've got $200 to the Athletic Hall of Fame, and we also have 3 instruments being donated to the tune of $1,400. Those are my items this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Frazier. Need a motion for the finance agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Any
Comment.
discussion?
Just a comment on the resolution granting the temporary right-of-way. This was a subject matter last year by the 6th graders over at Ridgeway. And they took the initiative, they did their symposium. I know President Baker was present. Mr. Holbrook and Ms. Blevins. And they were pushing for this, and it's kind of neat to see now that it's actually happening. Throw that out.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Frazier?
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson? Dr. Kopus?
Yes.
Okay, that's it for our business agenda. Our next meeting is Tuesday, March 14th, beginning Thursday, sorry, my glasses. Thursday, I'm sorry, just sinus infections too, not good. Thursday, March 14th, beginning at 4 PM here at the board office. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.